Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping in. I sure appreciate it. It's May. It's basically May. So I have my palette rotation in front of me for May, and this one was a different one for me. It's gonna be interesting. It's either gonna be marvelous or become very mundane. Okay, so how could a month of new palettes become mundane? Probably because I have virtually no color in this rotation. This is the month of neutral palettes. Yes, all neutral. All palettes I have in front of me are just plain old neutral palettes. Why did I come to this plan for May? Well, here's the thing, friends. I'm not quite ready to dig out summer palettes, but I also know that I have an absurd amount of neutral palettes, and Makeup by Mario had a friends and family sale, and I really wanted to pick up the original Master Mattes because I've been enjoying my other ones so much. And so when the friends and family sale popped up, I decided to look at my collection and decide, do I need it? Spoiler alert, I bought it anyways, even though I clearly don't need it. But I really wanted it. It was probably the best sale I'm going to see from Makeup by Mario, including Sephora, because I think the best Sephora does is 20%, and the friends and family sale was 25%, and it still qualified for free shipping. So I went and did it. It's on its way. I was trying to wait for this video for that palette to get here, but it's taking too long. And I'm impatient and I'm ready to go. So that inspired me to pull out all my neutral palettes. Now let me tell you, I don't like to have more than 10 palettes in a monthly rotation because then I feel like I'm not able to get as many touches on palettes that I want to do. I have 11, but that's because I had these 10 picked out before I decided to purchase the original Master Mattes by Mario. So I have way more than 10 neutral palettes, way more than 10, but there are some of my neutral palettes that I correlate with a season, with a holiday, with something like that, and those are the ones I've chosen not to pull into this rotation. For example, the ABH Sultry palette. That one is a super neutral palette, but for me, I think elegance, I think winter, I think New Year's. So because that is what my brain thinks of when I use that palette, I opted not to bring that one in. I have a couple neutral palettes like the Sigma Earthy palette. I dug into that a lot when I was on vacation, so I've put some major use into those palettes. I don't necessarily need them in this rotation. I know how I feel about those. So this rotation mainly consists of the palettes that I'm drawn to in one way or another. So I either really want to use it or I'm like, I don't think I want this in my collection anymore. And there are a couple of those in this stack. So what I've done, other than eliminating the fact that I tag them to a holiday or an event or nostalgia or whatever, the ones I have in front of me again are either ones I really want to play with or ones that I'm trying to decide to declutter, because this made me realize just how many neutral palettes I have, and it's unreasonable how many I have, especially when there's a few that I don't touch, I don't pull. So this rotation is going to allow me to decide whether, no, I do actually like these, we're going to keep them in, or it's time to declutter, because I am going to do a mid-year declutter. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by my collection in the best kind of way, but I know for a fact there's palettes that I've already done my No Pan Left Behind project on that I don't want to go back to. I'm ready to declutter a bit, and this is going to help me get rid of some of those neutral palettes. So without further ado, you already know about the Master Mattes. Speaking of Master Mattes, here's the other one that's in this rotation, and this is their newest one, and it is the Master Mattes The Neutrals palette. I've used this a couple times, you've seen it on my channel, but I just really enjoy this palette. It is very fun, it's very soft, it's very subtle. I'm really enjoying this, which is why I wanted the original so bad. So I did pick it up, but now I have both of them in my collection, and this will be one that I'm definitely going to enjoy getting use out of in the month of May. Another one, like I said, they're all neutral, but I have a range of cool tones, warm tones, true neutrals. This one's a more cooler tone. The Colourpop That's Taupe palette This is like a staple in my collection. I just really haven't dipped into it as much as I want to. This is actually a repurchase. I hit pan on quite a few shades a while back, so this is a second purchase of this palette. But since I've repurchased it, I really haven't dug into it near as much as I want to, so that's what this month is going to be for. I actually have two alter ego palettes. First one up here is the Goddess palette. This is more of a warm tone neutral, and it does give me a little bit of pop of color with these two greenish blue shades. So for that, I am grateful and thankful because, like I said, there's virtually no color in this. This is about it. So I'm excited to have this option coming in. This is a very warm tone neutral palette. You've got your mustardy shades, your golds. It's very warm, but I really haven't used this near as much as I'd like to. So this is going to give me that opportunity to do so. This one isn't going anywhere. I'm a huge fan of Alter Ego and their formula and their style. So this is just one that I haven't dipped into and really want to. The other Alter Ego palette is definitely a fave of mine, so it's also not going anywhere. It's the Sahara palette. I think you guys already know I've done this, added this in some rankings pretty high up. For me, this gives a little bit of everything. This upper row here is pretty warm. This one's pretty neutral, warm leaning, and then you've got a cooler tone row at the bottom. So this gives me just a little bit of everything. It's still pretty neutral, but again, I'm happy to dig into it yet again, even though I have gotten some good use out of it. It's been a minute. I'm excited to use it. This one is fairly new to my collection. I have gotten some good use out of it, but definitely not as much as I want to. It is another Colourpop. It is the 1111. This one, other than the fact that I just want more use out of it, I like the versatility in this one as well. Kind of comparable to the Sahara in the way of versatility and usability. You've definitely got some warmer, more gold colors. You've got a couple cooler tone colors down here. Got a little pop of pink. To me, this is just a beautiful, versatile palette that I just haven't gotten enough use out of, so I'm definitely going to be dipping into her quite a bit this month. This one was interesting for me. I think the reason I decided to pull this one in over others is simply because even though I do think of winter with this one, I just kind of feel on the fence about it, and it sucks because it was my very first Natasha Denona purchase, or at least the midi size palette purchase, and it's pretty. It's obviously neutral, but I don't know. I'm not absolutely in love with it, which kind of breaks my heart because it was so expensive. So I'm hoping to kind of reignite this love and make sure that, you know, like, it's not going to just sit in my collection. And that is the Glam palette. So with this one, I think the struggle for me with this one is the fact that there's so many shimmers and not enough mattes. And I think that's where my struggle falls with this palette, because the only matte shades are these three right here and these two up here. That's it, which I'm grateful for the shade or the tone range of these, because you can pair them with any of these shimmers and obviously the palette is very cohesive. And also the fact that you have a couple lighter shades, a couple mid-tone shades, and a darker shade. So I appreciate that range. But I am a matte, heavy, or equal parts matte to shimmer kind of gal and a palette. So I think that's why I struggle to gravitate towards this. So this is going to be a great challenge for me for this month. This one is the newest, except for my Mario palette, the newest palette to my collection. It's about as neutral as you can get. It's the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette. I haven't used every shade in this. I've touched a couple shades. I've done a couple looks. Thoroughly enjoying the formula so far. I still haven't dipped into these cream shades, so I'm really excited for the opportunity to be able to tap into that this month and use up every single shade. Definitely tap into these creams. I'm going to challenge myself to use these creams as a base and not just a liner. I'm nervous, but also really intrigued, really excited to kind of see what this can do for me. So yeah, I'm excited to bring this one in for this rotation. All right, and this is another one that's not going anywhere. I felt the fall vibes when I pulled this out, but again, when I was comparing to the rest of my neutral palettes, this one was the less associated with a holiday for the rest of my remaining palettes. So this is the Melt Rust palette. This one, it does scream fall. I see that. I feel that. I know. But again, when I compared it to my other neutral palettes for a potential pull for this rotation, I just really wanted to use this. So I think for me, this is more or less just, I want to dip into it more. I've got a few looks down with this, but I just want more from this palette. So I don't care if this is more of a fall palette. It's going to be a May palette this time. So I've got 2 left here, and these 2, unfortunately, are on my chopping block, if you will. This rotation is really going to tell me whether they stay, whether they go. And one of them I'm sad about because it is a repurchase. I do thoroughly enjoy this, but I just, for some reason, I'm not gravitating towards it. It is the Profusion Nudes palette. Every single time I wear this, I get mad compliments, but I just don't find myself gravitating towards it, and I don't understand why, because it really is beautiful. And I see that I'm going to hit pan soon on this Indulge shade. I can see it. I can see it. Maybe that'll be a challenge for me, is trying to hit pan on that sometime in this month. Because they're not very deep pans, and this is an extremely affordable palette, so I feel like if I did end up decluttering it and missing it, it wouldn't be horrible to replace. It's under $6. So this might be one that goes. I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. It's a beautiful palette. This whole row is matte. This is the corresponding shimmer shade to that matte. Again, stunning looks every time I use it. The performance is great. It's not great for the price. It's just great. I really enjoy Profusion shadows. I just really hope I can find my love again for this one. And last but not least, and this one makes me sad too because it was expensive. Thankfully I got it before the price jumped up to the $50 range, which it's at right now, but it is the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded. This was one that I pulled that I just wasn't uber excited about. And I don't know why. Because I've got a pretty pop of pink here, and I think that this reminds me a whole lot of the ABH Sultry palette. It's similar. It's definitely not a dupe in any way, but I think it's got similar shades, similar shade range. I think the last time that I used this, I wasn't a fan of this shade. I used to be, but I think it's just dried out. I think it's getting up there in age, this palette is. So it just, I don't know. And these shimmers just really aren't fantastic. The mattes are perfectly fine. The shimmers are just blah. So this will be one that, like, does it stay? Does it go? I don't know. I'm definitely going to get some use out of this month and make a really good decision on it, because it's going to be a tough one for me. But we're getting down on my Urban Decay palettes. I think after this I got like 2 left, I think. Ugh. Okay, so those are all the palettes I'm going to be using through the month of May. Like I said, it could be marvelous or it could be mundane. Mundane in the aspect of, okay, I need color again in my life. Or it could be, you know, like, hey, I really enjoyed touching back into my neutrals. It might make me appreciate color a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe this will take me on a neutral roll. Who knows? We're going to find out, though. We'll find out together. But I sure appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And I will catch you in my next one. Later much.